Thank you very much. My question was on and around the assessment.
I said that.
This is the day NSFAS Administrator Mr. Mathebula will never forget in his entire life. Patasikola Posila, welcome.
I want to check with you, is there any consistent process, particularly transparent process, that you had followed?
Process, procedure, policy, Mzansi. Wait until you hear what Mr. Mathebula calls a process. But in the meantime, Guyemfan. Let's work.
Yes, you're right. You have the time, so you can go ahead.
I'm asking you if you're having a problem when I'm interjecting you.
Yeah, let's
Honorable Kgabo caught NSFAS Administrator Mathebula pens down. 4 advisors, no transparent process, no constitutional, just pick a friend. And it looks exactly like what Nobuhle Nkabane did. Stay with me because this one will make you angry. So,
welcome, Administrator, and thanks for the presentation. Let's go to Section 17B again, an issue that has created interest on the process of appointment. I want to check with you, Administrator. The report indicates that you are the one who has appointed the 4 administrators. I would want to check with you the advisors, my apology, not the 4 administrators. You know, in this department, the administrators almost on a daily basis, so you forget. Now, the issue of 4 advisors that has been appointed. I want to check with you first and foremost, before you bringing in those experts or 4 advisors on different fields, was there any assessment done that led you to identifying critical areas that would need intervention? That would be my first question.
Thanks, Honorable Member. So, I got appointed as the administrator on the 4th of May. And I spent a month at NSFAS making my own assessments of what are the skills that I will need to bring on board to assist me consistent with the Government Gazette. So for the first month, I did not appoint anyone. I worked with a team that I found at NSFAS. And then I wrote to the minister requesting an approval to appoint or concurrence to appoint 2 advisors who started their mass advising me from the 8th of June. Those 2 advisors continued to operate, and at the end of June, I then requested to appoint extra 2 advisors, specifically in finance, in the finance area. That's what brings us to the number 4.
Aye, Mzansi, nani lokuvota nitsakiwe nisilethela amahlakala kuphela. Mr. Mathebula says he wrote to the Minister of Higher Education and the minister just say yes, go and hire 2 advisors, then 2 more. No question asked, no meeting minutes, right? So now the question is, what did the department say about needing 4 advisors for an institution that already has staff? Is this what they call transparency? Because if a minister can approve 4 jobs with just a letter and no report, no rules, nothing, then it's a lie when they tell us they follow open process. Who is protecting who here?
Thank you very much. My question was on and around the assessment.
I said that I spent the first month making an assessment of what kind of skills I will need, and that is the assessment that I made.
Thank you very much. Look, Administrator, I would plead with you that you share the assessment report that led to you recommending the appointment of 4 advisors. The second issue that I would want to get clarity from in terms of Section 17B of the NSFAS Act, not necessarily dealing with the details that the minister largely dealt with, but based on the recommendation that you have done to the minister on the 4 people that must be appointed, I wanted to check before getting into questions. Are you aware of Chapter 2 of the Constitution, which declares the Constitution of the Republic the supreme law of this country?
Thanks. I will be aware of the Constitution, and maybe you want to highlight a specific section, and so that we deal with that.
I've made mention of Section 2 of the Constitution, and I've also partly explained what does it deal with. And I've said to you that that section identifies or declares the Constitution of the Republic as the supreme law of this country. I wanted to check, are you aware of that?
It is uncontestable, member. I'm aware of that. But can I deal
No,
I want to deal with the first aspect of your question so that we don't lose that in the detail. And then Hansard says I have accepted, I have agreed to bring something. I did not say I have produced a report of assessment, so I can't produce to you a report of assessment. I assessed for myself what assistance I'm going to need consistent with what the Government Gazette required of me to execute my role. So I will not be able to submit to you.
No, la kudlalwa ngathi la. No papers, no report. Mzansi, think about it. How does a public institution that handle 47 billion for poor student operate with no paper trail? And where were his superior to demand that report? Did anyone in the department or ministry ask him, show us your plan? No, they allowed it. So when government says they are transparent and fighting corruption, is it not a lie? Because transparency means you must have document you can audit. Okay, can someone tell me this? If there is no document, how will the Auditor General check? South African, are we being undermined here? These people are playing with us. They always need 10 documents for NSFAS loan, but the bosses need 0 to hire their friends. What a hypocrisy.
So, would you mind sharing the methodology, the yardstick, the form of observation, or I will not want to conclude that you have relied on your observation, face value observation. I will not want to conclude that you have relied on your emotions. Is there any methodology that you have applied in assessing the state of NSFAS before the intervention?
I did not assess the state of NSFAS before the intervention. The minister did that. So I'm saying I assessed the need of people that can assist.
Yes. Before you bringing in people, obviously, there must be something that led you to bringing in 4 advisors. My question is, what have you relied on? Have you either relied on a particular set of key areas that you'd looked into as an administrator as a way of assessing the capacity of NSFAS in discharging its responsibility? Or have you probably made an assessment through the performance report that you have been receiving? Or you have relied on your face value analysis and conclude that, myself as an administrator, I see a need for me to bring a person on finance for argument's sake. And my decision for argument's sake is informed by issues that are raised by the Auditor General. And me, as a way of mitigating or putting systems in place or as a way of responding to the issues raised by the Auditor General, I'm therefore placing an individual within the finance sector or finance department to look into these issues. That at least would be the guide, the basis of your intervention. I'm basically asking you what informed the basis of your intervention. How did you get to, I'm still interested to understand what is the role of these people. I'm still not there yet. I'm still interested on the basis. How did you get to a point of saying there is a need for me to intervene?
Again, thanks so much, member. For me, the issue is a very simple one. There's a Government Gazette that appoints me as an administrator. That Government Gazette imposes on me specific responsibilities, and it's very detailed on the stuff that I need to be able to attend to. That is the basis on which I then decided what kind of skills I need, and that sits in the Government Gazette. And I've just simply then gone further to simplify what is sitting in the Government Gazette in terms of the appointment of these people, to then say this specific person is going to help me with this particular area, and detail that to the minister to say, I want to appoint this person for these purposes, and the minister concurred with that. That's the assessment.
So basically, one can conclude that you have only relied on the Gazette.
Yes, you can rely on that.
Okay.
What is it that we have relied on in hiring these 4 advisors? His response is only the Gazette. Mzansi, that Gazette only says an administrator must be appointed. It does not say go and hire friends without process. So we must fact check him. Did he misinterpret the law on purpose? I think yes. And again, where were his superior to correct him? What did the Director General say? Did anyone tell him you can't use Gazette alone? You need a performance report? Nobody. So what is the President saying about this? Will President Ramaphosa act? Because law has been broken here. You can't run NSFAS on one paper while students are failing to get funding. Is this higher learning or higher stealing? Assad, this is confusing.
Not a problem. Let us go to the very same section 17B, which allows you to bring in individuals with the necessary skill and expertise. I want to check with you on the 4 advisors that you have appointed. During the process of appointing these people, was there any transparent process that you followed in appointing these people? Remember, we're in a department where largely we are unable, or the ministry is unable to demonstrate how their actions are consistent with the legal prescripts. I want to check with you, is there any consistent process, particularly transparent process, that you had followed?
I'm not so sure, honorable member, if you can assist me by what you mean by transparent process.
The transparent process, was there any transparent process of recruiting the 4 advisors, meaning that was there an advert placed on the public for everyone to participate, or one can conclude that you have handpicked these people?
I think you can conclude that I have handpicked them.
So there was no any transparent process?
There was no process required of me to appoint an advisor.
So how did you identify their expertise relevance to the problem that you have identified? Agare Ntate Mathebula, tla ke bue Setswana. Agare Ntate Mathebula re ya di-interview rotlhe ra tlhalosa gore na le marematlou. Ke ra re we are all explaining that we've got metric. So re ba di-interview to demonstrate our ability and capability beyond the qualification. So I'm asking you that process, how have you identified those individuals as people who are having the relevant skill and expertise? Because the expert says that you are allowed to bring in expertise. I want to get to that point of expertise.
Yeah. Na ringeta ku hlamusela ku vanhu lava ni nga va teka hikuva ni tiva ku va ta kota ku tirha ntirho lowu ni lavaka ku ri va ni pfuna hi wona. Wehe u lava ku ni byela hi ku a ni fanele ni va ni yisi emaphepheni ni advertiser ku lava vanhu valavo a swi tirhisiwi swona. So I think we can agree that given that there's 11 official languages, that suffices as an answer.
Thank you very much. That's fair enough, Administrator.
Hold on, Honorable Khan. What is wrong, Honorable Mzansi?
Oh, there's nothing wrong, Chair. I wanted to follow up on the question.
What is the follow-up?
My follow-up, Chair, the administrator says I handpicked them. What does that look like? He went to his contacts on his phone and just chose people he asked around, or it's people that he has worked with before in the past and he knows them. I just want to understand what he means by he handpicked them.
No, Chair. I would have asked some of these people I know from the industry, because some are accountants. So I would know that this specific person is an accountant, and I think that it may have done this kind of work prior, and I would have approached them. Similarly, that I've approached others that may have said, listen, we and government entities, we don't want our reputation tainted. We are not going there, right? And these others that gladly said, well, we understand the challenges. This is a national duty. We're going to come. We're going to come on board. So it may not have been in my contacts. In fact, two of them I didn't know prior. Whereas the other two I actually knew. One I actually worked with in the banking environment whilst I was still in the bank.
So I think Honorable Kgabo's question was, what was the process? So you're explaining that you have utilized the handpicking, and the handpicking would have been different. One, it would have been people that you knew before, worked with them in the industry and all of that. Others you did not know. Those ones, how did you, or you asked people around, or you may have approached somebody and they said, I'm not available, but person X is available. So maybe explain that. I think that was the base of Honorable Kgabo's question.
No, true, Chair. So I may have approached one person first, and that person said to me, listen, I would like to, but I'm committed. They said, well, would you know somebody with this specific expertise that I'm looking for? And they would have said, well, approach X and Y. And I may have approached those X and Y. Y would have said, listen, I'm not touching this with a bar of soap. And then X said, well, I'm coming on board. And then from there, I would then have followed a process which is to present the name and the CV to the company secretary to do the necessary things that needs to be done as per what will have been required to be done.
If we say ANC is corrupt nithi sinemanga, if we say ANC iqasha ama-relatives wayo, ANC ithengisa umsebenzi, ANC iqasha ngokuthi who do you know in the government nithi sinemanga, what is this? Handpicked us around one banking body. South Africa, did you hear that? We have 33% unemployment, graduates are selling tomatoes on the street, but job at NSFAS go to phone contact, just like Nobuhle Nkabane did with her board. Same script, different actors. What will Ramaphosa do? As usual, nothing. Just like what he did to Nobuhle Nkabane until the citizen started talking. What did his superior say when he told them he handpicked his advisors? Did they say no, you must advertise? No, they kept quiet. I did say this before. This institution is controlled somewhere by a network that allow each other to do as they please. I'm telling you.
No, thank you very much, Chairperson. Now that the administrator has confirmed that he has basically handpicked these people, and there was no any process followed in determining whether the expertise is relevant for the intervention or not. And I would want to draw the administrator to Section 195 of the Constitution. You see, administrator, we are running the state a government with processes, with clear legislation. We are not running a spaza shop like some officials are behaving. It can't be. I want to draw you to Section 195 of the Constitution and make reference to 2 or 3 points, particularly on the principles that speaks to the governing of public administration. Just 2 or 3. One of the principles speaks of high standard of professional ethics must be promoted and maintained. Another one speaks of transparency. Transparency must be restored by providing public with timely, accessible, and accurate information. I'm raising these 2 aspects of transparency and particularly professional ethics. And I would want to ask you, Administrator, in line with the 2 principles that I've made mention, do you believe that your appointment of the 4 advisors was consistent with the Constitution or contradicting the Constitution? The fact that you did not conduct any public, transparent process of appointing, of placing an advert, you have concluded that you have handpicked these people. So I'm asking you, if your actions, do you believe that they are inconsistent with the Constitution? Or do basically your actions are embracing the professional ethics that must be promoted in public administration?
Thanks so much. I would have hoped that you will refer me to a piece of legislation that required me to advertise. Instead, you are referring me to a section of the Constitution which has not been contradicted. So
are you saying that
you're going to ask a question, you're going to interrupt me, and I'm going to leave you to interrupt me, right? So the point I make.
So are you having a problem with me interjecting you when you are talking?
It is your right. You have the time, so you can go ahead.
I'm asking you if you're having a problem when I'm interjecting you.
Yeah, let's allow the presiding officer to step in. Maybe when we've asked a question, Honorable Kgabo, and you think he's not responding to the question, let me so that I save your time, so that we avoid the interjections in between.
Okay.
Members, Prof. Mathebula, do have pressures of time, and therefore they would interject here and there if they feel like you are moving away from the question that they've asked. So let's try by all means to be cordial, have the decorum of our meetings in place, so that we are not here to fight. We're here to seek for solutions and solving the problems at NSFAS, because they affect our people on the streets. I've not gone deep when I was telling you about the research, but as we're speaking here, there might be people or young people, young girls especially, who might be pregnant, who might be home, who might be having STIs that are incurable because of some of the inefficiencies of our system. So we ought to fix it. So it should not be about us here. It must be about those kids that we must think about out there, those who are in the system currently and those that will access the system.
Mr. Mathebula hired them. He vetted them himself, player and referee. Mzansi, no police clearance report, no independence HR, just his words. Does this respect Section 195 of our Constitution that demand high ethics? No. Law has been broken. South Africans have been undermined. Students are undermined. So we must ask, will the president fire this administrator? Or will he fire the minister who approved? Or will they do nothing again and tell us about transparency?
Honorable Kgabo?
Yes, Chairperson. Administrator, I want to put it to you that Section 17B, as much as it gives you the powers to deal with the appointment, you can't exercise that Section 17B without taking into consideration Section 195 of the Constitution. Because the Constitution remains the supreme law of this country. And I see you are falling into that trap of advancing something that you cannot defend. Can I check with you? Was there any background check that you have done on the 4 advisors? Criminal background check? Any vetting process? Now that you have confirmed that there's no prescript of the law that you have followed, you have even defied the Constitution, you have handpicked these people. Is there any reference check that you have done in terms of vetting?
I do have these people's criminal records. So I do know that now.
Have you done any vetting?
Which vetting would you?
The vetting of qualifications, if it's a true reflection, if the individual is not having any criminal record, or if you relied again on your face value analysis.
I've confirmed that I have done the criminal checks. I can confirm that these people do have the qualifications that they claim to have.
So if you can just confirm, now that you have confirmed that the qualifications are relevant, and can you give us the report of the background check? For interest sake, who conducted that assessment? Is it yourself or any state entity?
It was not conducted by a state entity. I conducted it.
You conducted yourself? So you basically handpicked yourself. You handpicked individuals. You have even verified a background check on yourselves. There is no any other process that you have followed. Would I be right to conclude that based on your responses and on how you are interpreting the NSFAS Act, including the Constitution of this country, would I be right to conclude that you don't have respect for the Constitution of the country?
You say I'm going to give you a simple answer, which is that you are wrong.
Okay. No, Chairperson, let me rest my case. I'll submit other questions in writing. Thank you very much.
No, thanks.